Good morning, everybody. It's a thoughtful Thursday going on, and a couple things I wanted to talk to everybody about. First of all, there was an email that came from the meltdown challenge that we're doing. I thought it was spot on, so that's what I'm going to kind of kick this off with here in a second. The other thing is, Wayne and I would like to personally invite everyone from Arizona to this event this weekend. It's a client celebration starting at 9 a.m. at the Phoenix Crown Plaza Hotel. We have got some of the biggest health coaches in Take Shape for Life that will be there this Saturday. They're amazing people, very inspiring stories. Lisa Castro had lupus and was barely able to move before she started program. You should see this woman. She is just buff and has taken her life to a whole other level. One of our mentors, Josh Golka, is going to be there, Susan LaBelle, Brad Miller, a bunch of people who I think you will love and you'll love listening to. There will be people who are doing the program from all over the state. So it's going to be quite an event. We would sure love to have you come and, represent our group in here. Anyway, if you need more details, the flyer is here in our Facebook page, and or you can message me for details. Anyway, getting back to Thoughtful Thursday. So the challenge email was awesome, and it talked about this whole deprivation mindset that we get into with food, and it was about freedom and what is a perceived loss of freedom. And the fact of the matter is, when you're doing a diet, you're going to feel like you've been restricted. But you need to turn that thinking around. This is about healthy living and what are the choices that you get to make. And the end of the email basically said that in reality, there's thousands of healthy options that we can eat in order to accomplish what we really want, which is optimal health. And that freedom is not being able to do whatever we want. It's being able to do what's necessary to obtain what we truly desire. So we don't have any loss of freedom with this. And when you're thinking that way, then that triggers the response to that. And that triggers negative emotions. That was my next piece that I really wanted to talk about, which is negative thinking. And, we all have those negative days. I'm going to fess up. I had one of those yesterday. You could just ask my sister in here. But it got me to thinking a little more about why that happens and why do we tend to focus on that. And so I started doing some reading because I had heard that 95% of our thoughts are negative, which I thought was astounding. And, you meet some people who are just really super positive and they're out there and every day is a fabulous day. And I think that's wonderful. But as I was, you also meet those people that, they just can't say a good thing. It doesn't matter, what the day is like. But I wanted to know a little bit more about why, because I'm kind of a why person. And I was reading some literature by a neuropsychologist who talked about the fact that scientists believe that your brain has a built-in negativity bias. So, in other words, as we evolved over the millions of years, dodging sticks and chasing carrots, it was a lot more important to notice, react to, and remember sticks than it was carrots. And that's because in these tough environments, if you missed out on a carrot, you usually had a shot at getting one later, no big deal. But if you failed to avoid a stick, like a predator, a natural hazard, or aggression from others, you were toast. There was no chance to pass on your genes. So in some respects, we're genetically predisposed to think of it that way. We're kind of attuned that way as a survival thing. The brain handles positive and negative information in different hemispheres. And the other thing they said is that negative emotions tend to involve a little bit more thinking, and the information is processed a bit more thoroughly than the positive ones. So that's what we tend to focus on. So the question is, if that's the case, and we're a little bit predisposed to that for survival instincts, then how do we change those thoughts? And we've talked about this before, because much of our health and the choices we make every day, you can't intervene at the point of the action. Like I'm just going to do this. You have to take it back a couple more steps. Back before the emotion, clear back to the thought. Because again, thoughts create emotions. Emotions dictate an action, and an action dictates outcomes. So if you just simply say, I'm going to go on a diet, then you are lopping off the first two parts of what becomes important. And if the emotions are negative ones, what do you think that your progress is likely to be? So how are some ways to break this? Well, surround yourself with positive people. It's partly why we have a support group like this. It's partly why we have coaches, so that you can be around other people who are in pursuit of the same things or want those things for you and can help you, switch that thinking around. The other thing is turn off the source of the negative information. Sometimes you can get in a funk because, if you're watching the news or you're watching certain programs or you're involved in something that's always negative all the time, well, that's just going to reinforce everything you're thinking. Trick yourself into, or out of rather, negative thoughts. And there's lots of different ways to do this, but it's sort of Dr. Anderson's stop, challenge, and choose, that when you're having that thought, which is, I'm never going to get to my goal weight, just stop. Stop. Challenge the thought. Why do I believe that? What basis do I have for that? If you've gone along and you've lost some weight on the program, well, then it can be effective. So history will dictate, okay, you don't have any reason to believe you're not going to get to your goal weight. So when you're hitting that stop button, replace it with an affirming thought. Say out loud, I just can't go down that road, or whatever your stop measure is. If you use computers a lot, cancel, delete, hit the delete button, hit the backspace, whatever visual it is you need to help you kind of get out of that moment. Take some time and think about the positive. Think about the positive. It's almost like a reverse bucket list, okay? Think about all the positive things you've done in your life. Did you finish a course? Did you learn to do pottery? For me, like learning to ride a motorcycle, just make a reverse, bucket list of, okay, well, I've already done all of these things, not the things you still want to do, but what have you accomplished? And focus on those positive things. Get some positive reinforcement. Talk to somebody, talk to your coach, you post it here and get encouragement from people here, and really work a vision for creation. We stick to this negative thing because we're always trying to fix. We're trying to be fixers. And the more you try to fix, the more you're focused on the problem. If you try to create, you're focused on the vision. Your thoughts are like seeds. After they're planted, they grow into roots. Roots feed trees. Trees produce fruit based on how they're fed. Good thoughts produce good fruit. Good thoughts produce good results. And that was from a guy who wrote an article online. His name is Will Murphy. And I just wanted to make sure I gave him credit for that because I thought it was so cool. So have a great Thursday, everybody. And again, we'd love to see you on Saturday. And please make sure you're reaching out in our Facebook group with any challenges or some positive stuff, some non-scale stuff. And maybe not even related to weight, like what good is going on in your life. So have a great Thursday, and we'll check back in soon.